Just to confirm, it's supposed to be virtual room 3, correct?
Correct.
We are not rolling yet. Hold on. Okay, we are rolling on room 3.
Thank you. Sergeant, will you begin your recordings?
PC recording started.
Recording to cloud underway.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to today's New York City Council remote hearing on the Subcommittee on Landmarks, Public Siting and Disposition. At this time, will all panelists please turn on your videos. I repeat, all panelists, please turn on your videos. Thank you. To minimize disruption, please place all electronic devices to vibrate or silent mode. Thank you. If you wish to submit testimonies, you may do so at landusetestimony@council.nyc. I repeat, landusetestimony@council.nyc. Thank you for your kind cooperation. Chair, we are ready to begin.
Good morning. I'm Councilmember Farah Lewis, Chair of the Committee on Landmarks, Public Sightings and Dispositions. I'm joined today by my colleagues, Councilmembers De La Rosa, Feliz, Ung, Holden, and Nurse. Today, we will begin by voting on 2 items we heard at our meeting on February 9th. The landmark designation of 200 Madison Avenue and the site selection and acquisition of real property for the construction of new offices for NYPD Bronx Special Victim Services. We will then move on to hearings on the Castle 3 107-111 East 123rd Street project and the 5th Amendment of the East New York Urban Renewal Plan. Before we begin, I recognize the Subcommittee Council to review today's hearing procedures.
Thank you, Chair Lewis. I am Jeffrey Campagna, counsel to this subcommittee. Members of the public who wish to testify were asked to register for today's hearing. If you registered to testify and are not yet signed into Zoom, please sign in now and remain signed in until after you have testified. If you wish to testify and have not registered, please go to www.council.nyc.gov/landuse to sign up now. If you're not planning to testify on today's items, please watch the hearing on the New York City Council website. All people testifying before the subcommittee will be on mute until they are recognized to testify. Please confirm that your mic is unmuted before you begin speaking. Public testimony will be limited to 2 minutes per witness. If you have written testimony that you would like the subcommittee to consider in addition to or in lieu of appearing before the subcommittee, or if you require an accessible version of a presentation given at today's meeting, please email landusetestimony@council.nyc.gov. Please indicate the LU number or project name in the subject line of the email. During the hearing, council members who would like to ask questions should use the Zoom raise hand function. The raise hand button should appear at the bottom of the participant panel. I will announce council members who have questions in the order that they raise their hands. Witnesses are reminded to remain in the meeting until they are excused by the chair. Lastly, there may be extended pauses if we encounter technical problems. We ask that you please be patient as we work through these issues. Chair Lewis will now continue with today's agenda.
Thank you. I would also like to recognize Councilmember Vernikoff, who has joined us. With the support of the affected council members, we will now vote to approve the 2 items we heard at our last meeting. We will vote to approve LU1, the site selection and acquisition of real property located at 188 West 230th Street in the Bronx for the use as a new NYPD Bronx Special Victim Services Squad facility. The property is located in the council district represented by Councilmember Sanchez. We will also vote to approve LU2, the Landmark Preservation Commission's designation of the lobby of 200 Madison Avenue as an interior landmark. The landmark site is located in the Manhattan Council District represented by Majority Leader Powers. Council, please call the roll.
Lewis.
I vote aye.
Holden.
I vote aye.
Feliz.
I vote aye.
De La Rosa.
Aye.
Nurse.
Aye.
Ung,
Aye.
Vernikoff.
I vote aye.
By a vote of 7 in the affirmative, with 0 in the negative and 0 abstentions, the items are approved and referred to the full land use committee. However, the vote will be held open. So that Councilmember, I see that Councilmember Marte is now here. Councilmember Marte, we are voting on LUs 1 and 2. How do you vote?
I vote aye.
By a vote of 8 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and with 0 abstentions, the items are approved and referred to the full land use committee.
Thank you, Council. We move on to today's public hearings. Our first public hearing is on LU numbers 13 and 14, the Castle 3107 to 111 East 123rd Street project. These applications submitted by the Department of Housing, Preservation and Development pursuant to sections 197C and 201 of the New York City Charter and Article 16 of the General Municipal Law request approval of 1, the Urban Development Action Area designation, an Urban Development Action Area project for such area, a disposition of such property to a developer to be selected by HPD, and the grant of a special permit pursuant to section 74-903 of the zoning resolution to modify the requirements of sections 24-111. To permit the allowable community facility floor area ratio of section 2411 to apply to a nonprofit institution with sleeping accommodations in an R7-2 district. All in connection with the proposed construction of a 15-story building on property located at 107 to 111 East 123rd Street. Block 1772, lots 4, 7, and 8 in the Manhattan Council District represented by Councilmember Richards Jordan. Is Councilmember Richards Jordan available to provide remarks?
Yes,
She is
hi,
here.
hi. Hi, good morning. It's Councilwoman Richardson Jordan. I am here to show my approval for the Castle 3 project, which I believe is going to be a real asset to the community, providing some much needed subsidized housing. It's 100% affordability. It's completely green energy, and just showing my approval for the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Richardson Jordan. Testifying on behalf of HPD, we have Felipe Cortez and Ross Karp. On behalf of the Fortune Society, we have Stanley Richards and Joanne Page. From Curtis Greenberg Architects, we have Toby, forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, Cornegie or Cornegie.
Cornejo.
Thank you. And from Kramer Levin, we have Jeff Mullen. Council, please administer the affirmation.
Please raise your right hands and respond when I state your names. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this subcommittee and in answer to all council member questions? Philippe Cortez.
I do.
Stanley Richards.
I do.
Toby Cornejo.
I do.
Jeff Mulligan.
I do.
Ross Karp.
I do.
Joanne Page.
I do.
You may continue.
Thank you. You may begin your presentation.
Thank you, Chair Lewis. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, council members. Good morning, Chair Lewis. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present to you the Castle 3 project today. We're very excited to be here with you today. To start, I would like to give you just a quick summary of the background of the project. The Castle 3 project is located on the vacant underutilized city-owned land located at 107, 111 East 123rd Street between Park and Lexington Avenues in Manhattan. The proposed development will be a 15-story building containing approximately 82 affordable units with on-site social services that will be used as part of the community facility space. Out of the 82 affordable units, approximately 58 units or 70% of the units would be supportive housing units, serving formerly incarcerated individuals. The remaining 24 units or 30% of the units would be affordable to households earning up to 60% of AMI. The proposed development will be developed under HPD's supportive housing program. Do we have the presentation? Thank you, Andrew. Can you move to the next slide, please? Thank you. So the land use actions required to facilitate the proposed project include UTAP designation and project approval and the disposition of the city-owned land. In addition, we are seeking approval of a special permit to allow an increase in the floor area for the community facility uses with the sleeping accommodations. Now, I will turn the presentation over to the development team that will give us a little bit more further details on the proposed project. Thank you.
Thank you, Felipe. Next slide, please. This is the project team, as Felipe described, HPD, Fortune Society. Curtis Ginsburg is our lead architect. Amy Lariviere consultant is our development consultant, and our land use attorney is Kramer Levin. We really put together a team that could help us envision a building that could add to the community, provide affordable, safe, and environmentally friendly housing. Next slide, please. As Felipe described, this is quality, affordable housing. When we first went and met with the community board, what we heard is that they needed deeply affordable housing. And so what we are proposing is deeply affordable and supportive housing in the East Harlem community. It's 82 units for New Yorkers earning up to 60% AMI. And we have a specific breakdown of how many units fall into what category. 58 of the units are reserved for homeless, formerly incarcerated individuals. Fortune Society's 54-year history. We serve about 9,000 people a year. Over 50% of our staff are people with lived experience. Over 30% of our executive team, people with lived experience. So our mission and our commitment is to help build safer communities by helping people rebuild their lives and reclaiming independence through housing, economic development, and a host of services. 24 of the units, as we heard from the community, are committed to affordable New Yorkers with a set aside for Community Board 11 in particular. We're going to have on-site comprehensive services like we have in Castle Gardens in West Harlem, where we will be providing case management and other services to help people stabilize and continue to build productive lives. Next slide.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us here. This is a view of the building from the north. It abuts 3 vacant lots on the north side of the block, and it's adjacent to the East Harlem corridor. So you can see our building is taller than the adjacent buildings now, but we expect soon in the future along Park Avenue, there will be much taller buildings next to it. The north facade is comprised of light colored material to bring needed reflected light down into the rear yard. I'm going to go to the next slide to talk about the program, but I'll just review it here first. Down in the cellar, we're building out the entire lot, and there will be some supportive offices down in the cellar and a bike room and all the utility spaces. On the ground floor, you can see there's an entrance courtyard to the building, and you can see the sort of tip of the rear yard. There's going to be a landscaped entrance courtyard, a landscaped rear yard to provide needed outdoor space, and a nice presence on the street, both in the day and at night. All of the windows on the ground floor that face the front will have views into the space. There'll be a teaching kitchen and a community facility on the ground floor that's open to, that will have programming geared towards the community and geared towards the residents of the building. And then there'll be the lobby, and both sides will be 24-hour attended. But the other thing this diagram is really showing is all the sustainable design, and this is going to be a tall, very sustainable building with following passive house principles with a very tight envelope. You can see it traced in the red line. At the top, there's a solar array that will bring some sustainable energy to the building, and the entire building is going to be an all-electric building, so all the heating, cooling, and domestic hot water will be supported by electric power. The only gas coming into the building will be for a required generator. Next slide.
Thank you, Toby. And I just want to add the concept about the community space is really to build community, invite community in, like we did in Community Board 9 at Castle Gardens. Community Board 9 has their community board meetings in our space. We have the same kind of social service space. They meet there monthly. We do a food distribution for seniors in Community Board 9, something we want to bring to the East Harlem project. We're a polling place. So we really become an asset to the community on the west side. And we want to do the same thing on the east side. And would invite council members to come and take a look at what we've done with Castle Gardens. It's a real asset to the community. And here's the breakdown of all of the units. 58 of the units are going to be really low income, 30% of income. We anticipate that most of those units will be paying $215, which is the public assistance rent. For the affordables, we'll have 2 at 30% AMI. We'll have 2 at 40% AMI, 8 at 50%, and 11 at 60%, with 1 for the super. And you can see the rents that we're anticipating. These are really affordable rents, something that we've heard from Community Board 11, and something that we wanted to make sure we was able to do with the size of the building, the financing of the building, and the structure of the units. Next slide. Fortune Society is economic organization that helps people rebuild their lives through economic opportunities. We're committed to continuing to do that. We have long-standing relationships with a couple of organizations in the East Harlem area. Strive, we have worked with for a couple of decades, and Exodus, we know Exodus very well, and we'll be working with Exodus. We'll be working with Community Board 11 to ensure that we are doing local hiring so that the Community Board 11 community can benefit multiple ways from this Castle 3 by providing affordable housing, by providing a sustainable building with resources and community service supports, and by hiring local community members to provide economic stability to the community. We will use the Higher New York City portal and Home Builders, who is a partner, will help to ensure that we connect with people in the local community for hiring. So we're committed to the NWBE percentages, but just the concept of NWBE overall to ensure that minority and women-owned businesses have access to the development and buildings that are happening in New York City. So we're really excited.
I think he went on mute, got cut off.
Oh, we're open for any questions. Did you hear me for the presentation?
Like the last 10 seconds, we didn't hear.
Okay. I was just saying that we're committed to MWBE to ensure minority and women-owned businesses are part of the fabric of what we're doing as an organization. And we're open for any questions.
Is that everybody presenting today? All right, thank you. I'm now going to open it up to any council member that has questions.
If there are any other council members who have questions, please use the raise hand button now.
I don't have a question. I just want to say this project looks amazing, and I think it should be the motto of developments in all our districts. So congratulations on setting this up.
There are no other council member questions.
All right, thank you everyone for your testimony. There will be no more.
Oh, wait
Sorry,
one
I
moment.
just raised my hand.
There's a question from Councilmember Vernikov.
Just a question about schools in the area. Are there any schools in that neighborhood, and how far are schools located from that facility? That building.
I'm not sure of the school distance. I believe there are schools in that area. I'm not sure what's the distance and the school locations.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other council member questions? I see no other council member questions.
Council, is there any public witnesses that want to ask questions?
Well, the public will not be asking questions, but there are no members of the public signed up to testify for this item.
Thank you.
What I would like to do, though, is respond to the school question. We can come back to you with locations of schools, but we've been operating housing in West Harlem for 20 years, and proximity to schools is abundant. And we made a commitment to make the neighborhood safer by our presence, and we're making the same commitment for this facility with 24/7 security, with intensive services, and our reference is Community Board 9, because we made a promise that the neighborhood would be safer because of our presence, and I think we've kept that promise. So we are assuring you that the schools in the neighborhood will be benefited by presence and not negatively impacted.
Thank you, I appreciate it. If you could still get back to me, thanks.
Are there any other questions?
There are no other council member questions.
All right, seeing no other members of the public or council members that wish to testify on LUs 13 and 14, Castle 3, 107 to 111 East 123rd Street project, the public hearing on these items are now closed. Our next public hearing will be on LU 15, a proposed Fifth Amendment of the East New York Urban Renewal Plan submitted by the Department of Preservation and Development pursuant to Section 505 of Article 15 of the New York State General Municipal Law and Section 197C of the New York City Charter. The application requests approval of an amendment of the East New York Urban Renewal Plan to allow residential development on a site previously designated as open space. The site is located in the Brooklyn Council District represented by Councilmember Barron. Is Councilmember Barron available for remarks?
I do not see Councilmember Barron here.
Okay, we'll move on. For HPD, we have Shushma Pramod and Rosa Kelly testifying on this application. Council, please administer the affirmation.
Please raise your right hands and respond when I call your individual names. To affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this subcommittee, and an answer to all council member questions. Shushma Pramod.
I do.
Rosa Kelly.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. You may begin your presentation, and if you need to put anything on display, please do let us know.
Thank you. Yeah, can we pull up the presentation deck? Thank you. All right, good morning, everyone. Chair Lewis, council members. As mentioned before, my name is Sushma Pramod, Senior Planner at HPD, and I'm going to be presenting the Fifth Amendment to the East New York 1 Urban Renewal Plan ULURP application. Thank you again for having us here today. Next slide, please. HPD is seeking an amendment to the East New York 1 Urban Renewal Plan to change the use restrictions on Site 122, located at 303 Hinsdale Street, from open space to residential use. Approval would really facilitate a technical cleanup in the urban renewal plan where Site 122 was erroneously designated for open space uses. Approval of the requested action would permit residential uses on the site for the development of a small 3-story new construction building with 4 affordable rental units. Next slide, please. The development site is an ideal location for residential development as seen on this aerial view. It is adjacent to 1 and 2 family buildings and across the street from a former shelter that is being redeveloped into affordable housing. Public transit in the area includes the L train at Van Sinderen Avenue 2 blocks to the west and the 234 trains at Livonia Avenue to the south. Bus service in the area includes the B14, B20, and B83 lines. Next slide, please. In consideration of the site's immediate neighboring context, the proposed development is a small 3-story residential building with 4 affordable rental units developed under HPD's Neighborhood Construction Program, or NCP. This building is part of a previously approved UDAP called the New Bend Development 2 project, which was approved in April of 2021. Next slide, please. And finally, we're at the tail end of the ULURP process here and anticipating completion of ULURP in spring of 2022. Next slide, please. And that concludes my presentation and open to any questions that you may have.
Thank you for your presentation and your testimony. Are there any council members that have questions?
Councilmember Nurse, I believe, had a question. Yes, Councilmember Nurse.
Hi, good morning. I'm sorry if I missed it in the presentation. How many units will be in this building?
There will be 4 units.
And sorry, just to add on to that, because it's less than 6, are there any rent regulations attached to this new development, or what is the affordability level?
Yes, it is a 100% affordable building. So 2 of the units in this building are affordable at 40% AMI, and 2 of them are affordable at 60% AMI.
And sorry, Chair, just one last question. Are there any other public subsidies being utilized for this project?
This will go through 9% applications once they do have approvals. But I can get back to you if there are any additional subsidies beyond that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Are there any other council member questions? If so, please raise your hands. I see no other council member questions on this item.
Are there any members of the public who wish to testify on the East New York Urban Renewal Plan amendment?
There are no members of the public signed up to testify on this item.
Seeing no other council members are asking questions or wish to testify on LU 15, the proposed 5th amendment of the East New York Urban Renewal Plan, the public hearing on this item is now closed. That concludes today's business. I would like to remind you that if you have written testimony on today's items, you may submit it to landusetestimony@council.nyc.gov. Please indicate the LU number or the project name in the subject heading. I would like to thank the applicants, members of the public, and my colleagues from the subcommittee, council, land use staff, and the Sergeant at Arms for participating for today's hearing. This meeting is now adjourned.